Welcome to 28 and Searching. I'm your host, Samantha, and today I have Frederick Mureverwi with me. Thank you for coming on my show, Frederick.
Thank you, Samantha, for having me on your show.
So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you currently residing? How old are you? How many years have you been in your industry? That sort of thing.
Oh, I'm originally from Zimbabwe in Africa, but right now I'm working in the United Arab Emirates in the city of Abu Dhabi. I'm working in a hotel as a reservations agent, and my age is 29. I'll be turning 30 in the next year in June.
Very cool. So what exactly is hotel reservationist? What is it that you do?
Hotel reservations is mainly about room reservations, reserving the rooms for be it corporate companies, group reservations, conference reservations, or sometimes we get conferences in the hotel and they might want to also book the rooms for the
Okay.
other delegates and VIPs, and also individual reservations for people who are going on vacation or business people. So it's mainly to do with selling the rooms of the hotel.
Okay, and so it's very customer service oriented. Do you do face to face or do you mostly phone or internet online? What sort of customer service do you provide?
Customer service, it's mainly the customer service is mainly from the guests themselves, the hotel guests.
Okay.
Because yes, because we do get reservations from travel agents, from people's PAs, people's secretaries, different sources of reservations. So it's mainly to do with customer services,
Mm-hmm.
different types of people that we are dealing with, that we are getting reservations from. There is a level of customer service, even if they are from another hotel reserving for another guest. We are on the same side, right?
Yeah.
But yes, but still that level of customer service has to be maintained because we are representing a hotel, a good brand. We need to maintain that level of excellency and hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you do it mostly over the phone?
It's mostly on the emails.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, the phones they do come, but and they're not as compared to emails because per day an agent can reply to 100 emails, but you can answer less than 20 calls. So the phone calls are not that much, but the emails are like they are the majority of the work because all the online reservations and all the corporate reservations they come through the email. Whether you book online at booking.com or any online booking site, it comes to us through the email. Then
Okay.
we can do all the necessary things from there.
Okay, very cool. So how did you get to be in hotel reservationist? How did you come to, I mean, you moved countries. So how did you get to this point?
I was actually studying in South Africa.
Okay.
Then I didn't complete. I didn't have the financial means to complete my studies. I was studying in IT.
Sure.
So from there, I moved into the hospitality industry. I was a waiter for part time for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, that's how I got into hospitality. I just loved the industry and the customer service and the way of meeting different people every day. And then I moved to the UAE. I started working as a telephone operator. So that's how I really got into the hospitality. Like we call it ultra luxury hospitality, where it's mainly the five-star hotels.
Sure.
And we deliver a good guest experience, an ultra luxury service to the guests. From the telephone operator, I moved into room reservations, which is more into the sales and marketing of the business.
Okay.
Because we upsell the rooms,
Mm-hmm.
we suggest the rooms to sell, and there's some incentives that are involved. So it's more like a sales because we're trying to sell at least the highest room category for every reservations that we do.
Sure, yeah. And so you talked about how you were going to school. Are you still currently going to school? And what are you going for if you're doing that? Are you still into tech? Or are you looking to more now move towards hospitality type careers?
I was in IT when I was studying.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got my experience in hospitality.
Sure.
So hospitality and IT those are two different things.
Yes.
So as of yes, so as of now, I've started studying again, but I'm now doing a business management, business administration
Very cool.
with an online university. So I'm working, I'm getting my experience at the same time I'm studying so that I can develop my career and advance.
Yeah, so is
So
it
it's more like a career change. Well, at first I really wanted to do IT, but then I'm now into business administration on the hospitality side of things.
yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that. So so do you need the degree for this type of position or are you looking to move up with your degree once you receive it?
For this type of position, a degree is not needed.
Okay.
Yes, just your experience, your industry relevant experience is enough because
Hmm.
it's mainly customer service. As long as you can do the job, talk to the customer, and make a sale. This is the main criteria that they look for if they are going to hire a reservations agent. But as you develop your career, as you move on to the higher positions in the industry, a qualification is definitely needed, a hospitality qualification or management qualification, because the sales and marketing side, which division I'm in, it's mostly about sales and
Sure.
business management. But in other positions which has to do with hospitality and the hospitality of the guests and the customer care, you need a hospitality qualification.
Okay. And so
Yes.
what's a good starting position if somebody wanted to get into hospitality with, especially working with, I'm assuming you work with a lot of travelers, people coming from different countries and you're working for five-star hotels, that sort of thing. What's a good job that somebody could get that's entry level where they could decide if they like this type of position?
A good entry job would be, what can I say? The F&B side of things. Was in F&B we have supervisors,
Mm-hmm.
so waiter supervisors. We have the waiters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have assistant managers. We have floor supervisors. So those small positions, there's no pressure too much on the qualification. There's no pressure on your level of experience. But as you move on to because hospitality involves also F&B and uh, rooms division.
Okay.
As you move on to the rooms division, it will be difficult for you to make a big break if you want to start there because there's a lot of things involved.
Sure.
You need to know the different systems that they use, the different computer systems and different ways of dealing with difficult guests. So the easiest entry point will be the F&B side.
Okay.
Then you can move on from there. You can move into the rooms, into the sales, and move up the ladder. Because moving up in the F&B is there's a lot of pressure to move up there.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult.
And what does F&B stand for? Is that an acronym?
F&B is food and beverage.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right.
Yes,
I was trying to put it together and I was just having a really rough time.
it's the food and beverage. Because the hotel setup is like there's different divisions. Food and beverage, there's the rooms, there's
Hmm.
the finance, there's sales. IT is also there, but it's not a really big division.
Okay.
So there's different departments that make up a hotel.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
you can start at in food and beverage and then move up to being in the reservations and more the sales and marketing team.
Yes. And
Okay.
it's more like the management team of the hotel.
Sure. And so,
Yeah.
what are some of the personality traits that would be good for people that want to be in your position? What's some things that make a person the type of person that you would want there?
The good personality traits will be having good interpersonal skills first and foremost, because we work as a unit. We
Hmm.
have there's different reservation agents. Like we're a team of maybe five or so. Same with the telephone operators. We're a team of five or so. So you need to be able to work with your teammates nicely. You need to have those good interpersonal skills. You need to be someone who's approachable,
Sure.
and yes, you need to be very supportive of your team members. And after that, you need to have a good customer service experience, because you meet different types of people every day. You communicate with different types of people, different types of cases from different parts of the world. So you need to be able to adjust from one guest to the other. So those are the good customer service skills that you need to have.
Sure.
And yeah, and also you need to have good administrative skills. Well, since you are dealing with a lot of emails, a lot of administrative work, you are dealing also with a lot of paperwork. So you need to be on point. You need to be very detail oriented,
Okay.
because a very simple error can spoil someone's vacation. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and that would be not fun for
Yes, that will be
anyone.
not good. Yes, yes. You can make or you can break someone's vacation. So you need to be very accurate.
Yes, and I'm sure that brings a lot of angry customers for you if that does
Yes,
happen.
yes, yes. Because also, we are dealing with a third party travel agent.
Oh,
So
okay.
there can be a lot of things that can go wrong through the passing of information from them to us
Sure.
and to the front desk, who
Yeah.
are going to do the check-in. So we are more like in the middle. We have to be on point.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think
Yes.
is the one part of your personality that lends well to your position? What's the one thing that makes you stand out in hospitality?
The one thing that makes me stand out is the ability to work under pressure,
Okay.
because it really gets busy sometimes. Like phone calls will be ringing all the time. Every 5 minutes, the call is ringing. You're handling a different situation on the phone, whilst you were doing something else in the emails or in the credit card details of someone.
Hmm.
So you need to really grasp all those things and know what you were doing before you took the phone call, and then so that you can continue. And you are dealing with uh, sensitive information, people's personal details.
Yeah.
So if you really cannot work under pressure, and if you are easy to you to lose concentration, then you really find it difficult to succeed in the field. So I think working under pressure, I can handle everything. I try to minimize my mistakes,
Yeah.
and I can handle the pressure. I can still get everything right at the end of the day, no matter how busy a day is, because it's not every day that we have a full team in the office.
Sure.
Sometimes we have to do two people's jobs at the
Oh,
same time.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to be willing to take on other people's work too.
Yes, yes. You have to handle the pressure that comes with it.
Sure. So what are some other personality traits that wouldn't do well? I know you mentioned that if you lose track, that's not a good thing.
Yes.
Are there some other bad traits to have if you're going into reservations?
Yes, bad traits would be not being able to make a good sale, because we do also work with a commission-based incentive.
Okay.
So if you are not able to, if you just take an order, like a guest says they want a standard size room, if you cannot suggest something better than that to make their stay a bit more pleasant, then you wouldn't really be very good for the team and for the hotel. Because the
Sure.
main point of having a separate reservations team is to be able to maximize the sales, you know.
Yeah. And so other people kind of rely on you, right? So,
Yes, yeah.
so it's kind of important um, to be happy in what you're doing because you have so many other people that rely on you.
Yes, of course. We're under the revenue department, so we do have people relying on us from the front desk because we are giving them the rooms to check in, and also we do have the revenue department relying on us to maximize the sales of the hotel.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And so what is one part of your personality that struggled in this career? So something you've had to either change yourself or you've had to mold the job to become better at it.
The language barrier,
Okay.
because I'm working in the Middle East, so most of the people here they speak Arabic,
Yeah.
and they are not, even if they can speak English, they are not comfortable to communicate in English with us
Mm-hmm.
because they might have like some personal requirements for their reservation. Maybe they are on a honeymoon. They want to tell you intimate details about their room, something that needs to be arranged in the room. So they can't really communicate and explain everything to you
Sure.
in English. So the language barrier has had a challenge on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to learn Arabic, but it's also a difficult language to learn.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
And
and
so,
also we in the
yeah.
emails also we get some emails which are written in Spanish sometimes or
Oh,
another language
yeah.
because we're an international brand, so we get reservations from all over the world.
Sure. And so
Yes.
how many languages do you know how to speak?
I know about one, two, three, four, with including English.
Yeah.
So I can say three. I can say three native languages.
Okay, very cool.
Yes.
All right. So if somebody is good with language, this might be something that they want to look into, right? Because there's a lot of
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Some companies, even when they're advertising positions for reservations agent,
Hmm.
they specifically say they want an Arabic speaker or a Russian speaker. So they try to have a team that is people who speak at least five different languages. You know?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's another big challenge that this industry has.
Yeah, and that would also mean that you'd have to have a lot of patience because I know that when I talk to people whose first language isn't English, sometimes there's always miscommunication and we both have to have patience. So I'd assume that's very much what has to happen on your teams as well.
Yes, absolutely. Because the language barrier is there can be easily miscommunication and can lead to a disaster. So you have to make sure that you are so patient and you try to get as much information as you can from the communication that you're having.
Yeah. And is culture also a big part? Because I know that in different cultures, how you speak to people is different, right? So do you have to know
Yes.
those type of customs?
Yes, absolutely. Because some acceptable way of speaking in a certain culture may not be acceptable to you, to your personal culture.
Hmm.
So you have to be aware of other people's backgrounds and how they do things in their culture and in their way of speaking. An Arabic person may come to you as is sounding rude, but that's how they speak. To them, it may be normal. So
Sure.
if you easily become offended by the way they are speaking and think maybe they are rude, then you'd have problems. You'd always have problems with them,
Yeah.
you know.
So
So you need to be so tolerant.
so it's not taking things personal. It's understanding who you're speaking
Yes,
with.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. And is that pretty across the board in hospitality? Like when you were a waiter, was that also part of that as well?
Yes, it was a part of that also because in the country that I was working in, there's a lot of different cultures and languages. You know, some
Yeah.
people they come to you and they don't want to speak in English. They have to force you to, or maybe it can be just a greeting. You know, sometimes these languages I used to know just the greetings. So I greet someone in their language. Then they get the thought that I know the language. Then they continue the conversation in their language.
Yeah.
So I have to adjust. You know, others, if I'm not so tolerant, I'm gonna think that they want to force me to speak their language.
Sure. And was
Yes.
it a lot was it very different going from Africa to the UAE? Was it a huge shock almost to go from one to the other?
Yes, it was a huge difference. It was because in South Africa I used to work in the restaurants,
Sure.
so that was my start in food and beverage.
Mm-hmm.
Only the small restaurants in the malls. Then I moved here. It's a big hotel. It's a big proper. I'd never worked in a hotel in
Sure.
my life. So it was a big change. The ways of doing things, it was on a bigger scale. It was more like times five what I was doing there.
Yeah.
And also the level of professionalism had to be standard. I had to increase my level of professionalism and hospitality. We had to go through a long training. Before I could start my job, I had to go through, I think, 90 days of training.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, because they take their job, their work seriously, and it was a new hotel at the same time.
Oh,
So they
wow.
wanted they wanted everyone to be up to scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. And with, because tourism's a big industry, so I would assume that it'd be pretty intensive.
Yes, it's very big, it's intensive, and there's a lot of expectations from you. They don't really care where you're coming from. They want you to learn their way of doing things. And
Sure.
since it's an international hotel, they
Yeah.
have standards that are set from the corporate office. So all they say, if you go to all the hotels of this chain, you find people doing things the same way. Our standard operating procedures are the same way that they are doing in China, in the United States, here in United Arab Emirates. They are all
Okay.
the same.
Okay. So you're going to school and you were talking about moving up. What kind of positions would you be able to take if you moved up? Um, where would you be able to go within this company or another company?
I would like to stay within this company, this
Mm-hmm.
was it's a multinational company,
Yeah.
and I would like to move into the sales and marketing department.
Okay.
If I can, yes, if I can move into the sales, maybe in the junior levels of the sales, like as administrative assistant, then maybe because ours it goes from administrative assistant for sales, then sales executive, then sales manager, and assistant director, then director.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So you have a pretty
Yes.
clear path. There's a pretty good ladder there.
Uh, Yes, yes, I can see. I've already mapped out my path, and if all goes well, I'm gonna end up as a sales director one day.
Very cool. And so, do you want to move laterally at all? Are you looking at, because it is international, are you looking at maybe going to any other countries or other destinations to work towards? Or are you pretty happy with where you're at?
Absolutely, I'm trying to move to other properties around the world.
Sure.
Because within the company there is opportunities of moving to work in other countries where the same company is some hotels. And that's the reason why I really love this industry because you get to experience the world. It's hospitality and tourism. I've also at one point considered moving to work with the travel agents
Mm-hmm.
where you get like allowances to travel the world and see the places that you'll be sailing, the holiday destinations that you'll be sailing to the guests. But for this hotel, yes, I'm gonna try and move to other countries like the United States and China maybe. If I don't really get a chance to move to other countries within this hotel, I might have to move to another hotel in another country.
But that's still something you can choose, right? That's a positive about this industry is that you could literally work and live anywhere in the world, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because you need to experience, you need to know what you're talking about to the person that you're trying to sell the idea to. So
Sure.
I can't really sell a holiday in Thailand when I haven't been there because what I see on the internet is maybe different, you know. But
Yeah.
if you're telling someone that you really need to go to Thailand because of this, one time I was there, I did this and that, then they are more convinced to buy into that idea.
Yes. Yes, I can absolutely see that being true.
Yes.
So would you
Yeah.
say that the marketplace for jobs in hospitality is pretty open for people?
It is pretty open because this industry it needs a lot of personnel from different cultures, different countries around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because the clientele is spread across the world, even the most remote parts of the world.
Sure.
The people from there, you find them coming to stay in hotels. Hotels they're not like a permanent home, you know. They house people from all parts of the world. So they need also staff from different parts of the world who can communicate with the guests well, who can connect with the guests and engage with the guests.
Sure.
Because that's the secret to hospitality. You need to be able to engage with your customer. You need to maintain their loyalty. Those the market sales and marketing people. They need to have clients and contracts from all over the world.
Yeah.
So if we need, say, a contract from Sri Lanka, it's better to have a sales manager who's from Sri Lanka, you know, who
Yeah.
can communicate and bring clients from Sri Lanka.
So if people are in parts of the world that maybe they don't really want to be there any longer, would you say that hospitality would be a good industry for them to go into to get out of wherever they're at?
I didn't understand. Can you please come again?
Yeah, so if like somebody's in, let's say they're in rural Georgia and they don't want to be in rural Georgia anymore, but they're not sure where they want to get a job, would you say that
Yes.
hospitality might be a good job for them to get to move out of rural Georgia?
Yes, yes, that's a very good example. If you are, because almost every country has a hotel, so
Mm-hmm.
if you really need to get a chance to go out of the country, hospitality is the best way. You have a best shot in hospitality because hotels are in every country. Start where you are. Start with the local hotel
Sure.
because the experience is really needed before you cannot. It's almost very difficult to move to another country and start working in a hotel with zero experience.
Okay, so you need to start where you're at first.
Yes, you need to start where you're at
Okay.
and get some experience. A year or so, or even 6 months is better, and then you can move on from there.
Yeah.
We do have some interns who come straight from school, but at least they have the qualification from school.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's not like they're starting from zero.
Sure. And
Yeah.
so, in your experience, would you say that hospitality is almost a cultural connection? Like it kind of brings people together from everywhere?
Yes, absolutely. It brings people from all over the country. When I came to my job, I didn't know some countries, some
Mm-hmm.
countries in the world. Then I came to this company I'm working in, and I met people from different parts of the world. And I'm like, what? Are you from this country? Is that even a country or it's a city? I didn't know there's a country called this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you learn cultures, and you learn about countries.
sure.
Yes, I even went to one of the countries on my last vacation. My
Mm-hmm.
friend from that country invited me, so I went to their country. I learned their culture. On his next vacation, we are going to go to my country. He's going to learn also some things.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yes.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. So, what are some of the drawbacks of being in hospitality?
The drawbacks is there is no enough free time.
Okay,
If you Yes, I think it all depends on the position that you're working in.
sure.
But if you're working in the customer services divisions, all of those departments where you have to have direct contact with the guests,
Mm-hmm.
the free time is very limited because hotels are almost always busy or
Yeah.
almost always short-staffed.
Okay.
So there's a lot of overtime going on, a lot of busy periods going on. So our weekends are not really weekends. They say if weekend is Saturday and Sunday. But as for our schedule, we don't take off on Saturday and Sunday. We take off on other days. Was
Sure.
Saturday and Sunday, those are our busiest days.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yes, yes. And hotels are 24 hours. They never close. They never go to weekends and shut down the door. So our schedule doesn't depend on the calendar or on the days of the week. Our schedule is on its own.
So it can be kind of crazy. It can be
Y-
uncertain.
y- Yes, it can be uncertain. On the days when there's public holidays, that's when we are most busy. On the quiet days when business is down and everyone is not in the hotels, that's when we get our off days.
Sure. Okay. And so when you said that they're short staffed, so is overtime kind of required of you?
Yes, it is required because the hotel guests must not see a difference in the level of service,
Mm,
or they
okay.
must not be affected by the fact that we don't have enough staff to cover this period of time.
Sure.
So the management always try to make sure that the guests are not affected by our shortage of staff.
Okay. And so what has been your worst day of this job so far?
The worst day of my job so
Mm-hmm.
far was this position. I've only recently started it. I'm in this position. I've been in this position for like 2 months now.
Okay. So what about the
Yes.
position before that?
The position before I was in the operators.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a day when we were short-staffed and I was alone on the shift. And with operators, we were the hotel call center and we don't have to go offline. Our line is 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And my shift is 10 hours.
Oh my
That
goodness.
Yes. So imagine for 10 hours, I have to sit in the same place for 10 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
it was quite a busy day, and I had a few complaints, but they understood. The managers understood that it was quite busy. I was under too much pressure. So I tried my best, but I ended up with about 5 complaints for the day. The phone
Oh,
not being answered or being put on hold for too long. Because the hotel call center, we deal with internal calls and outside calls.
mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of work transferring calls to the relevant departments. If there's no answer, I have to take down a message. For internal calls, I get calls from the guest rooms also. They're requesting things. I
Oh my
get calls
goodness.
from other internal departments also trying to get some information because it's like an information center.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
10 hours.
In 10 hours,
Oh
one
my
person
goodness.
dealing with all those things.
Oh,
Was
that
on
is
on a
rough.
normal shift, we are normally 5 people.
And how many were there that
So
day? Was there's only five still?
yes, there's still. I mean, for every shift
Yeah.
on duty, there should be five telephone operators. But on that day, it was a holy month of one religion, of one of the religions. So they had to work less hours, and they had to knock off early.
Oh no.
Yes. So there was really nothing that the company could do, and they didn't anticipate a busy day,
And then it was. Okay, that
and it became a busy day.
yeah, that's never any fun. 10 hours is a long time.
It is, trust me.
And so on the flip side of that, what's been the best day of your career in hospitality so far?
The best day was in my current department.
Mm-hmm.
When I sold like I told you before, we are we have our basic salary, but then we have a commission-based incentive system.
Yeah.
So we are encouraged to sell the higher room categories, the suites. So my best day was when I sold my first suite in the reserve as a reservations agent,
That's
and that's
exciting.
yes, it's exciting. That was the highest category suite in the hotel.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so at first I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe the guest made an error. Yes,
Had to
because
double check.
I had to double check, and when I'm at home, I was still checking with the guys at work to see if the guest really came to check in. Because if the guest doesn't check in, then it's not counted. You know.
That's pretty, and they did check in and everything was good.
Yes, they didn't because when they made the booking, the booking, they said we're in the area, so we're coming now. And then I was there for another like 5 hours. Nobody came to check into that suite. Then I
Oh
went home.
no.
I was communicating with everyone, and finally, I heard that they checked in.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. And
But
I'd only been on the job for 1 week,
oh
so
wow.
I got a good recognition from my manager as well.
Oh yeah, and that probably felt really
Yes.
nice. Just you had just gotten there and you were already rocking.
Yes, yes, it was very nice.
Okay. So what are some of the benefits of your current position? I know you say that that feeling of accomplishment when you make a sale is probably one of those
Yes,
benefits. But what other things do you
yes.
have?
Other things are that we get to create good relations with the corporate companies that operate around us.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, we get to have some benefits, or yes, I can say some benefits of the good relations, like maybe tickets to the concerts,
Oh, okay.
or yes, or maybe some discounts at some of the companies that book rooms with us.
Sure.
Yes, because as time goes on, you end up having your group of clients.
Yeah.
Yes, those people who would want to deal only with you when they are making a reservation, because it's for some point you understand each other on some level. So, as the loyalty is maintained, you create your own group of clients who are relying only on you,
Yeah.
and you can enjoy the benefits of discounts and free things, maybe complimentary stays at other hotels.
Yeah.
Yes,
Those are
so
pretty cool, and it sounds like you make a lot of connections. You do a lot of really good networking.
yes, there's a lot of networking that goes on. Uh, because in this department, you have to differentiate yourself from others. You have to be unique about something. You don't have to operate the same way that others are operating. Let's
Sure.
say maybe you're patient with them, or maybe you're doing some extra favor to them. Then you can maintain them, and they will always keep coming back to you because they know that this guy knows how to handle our accounts.
So you almost get satisfaction of your hard work, right? Because once you give all this hard work to somebody, like another business, then they come to you only and then you reap benefit of that. So um, it's a very rewarding job.
Yes, absolutely. It's the benefits are real, and they are tangible. You
Yeah.
can really feel them. Yes,
Okay.
even you can have some friends. You can formulate some friends from those relationships.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you have lots of connections and good conversations throughout your day.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And it gives me some sort of self-esteem. It boosts my morale,
Oh
knowing
yeah.
that I really mean something to this company because I have all these people under me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what is it that you love most about what you do?
What I love most is the communication because my day is never boring. I can get to work and talk to a guest who has maybe a funny accent. I laugh for that guy, you know.
Yeah.
Then Then maybe the next call, another guest comes and he's rude and he's shouting, or he's trying to negotiate for a lower room rate that we don't have.
Yeah.
And so every phone call is different. That's why I enjoy the phone calls a lot.
Sure. And what made you fall in love with hospitality? Was there a
Uh,
moment?
yes, the same fact of meeting different types of people throughout your day. Because
Sure.
it's like I would call it. It's like having a lot of friends with different characters.
Okay.
Yes, because one is very rude, and maybe you are angry for the 30 minutes,
Mhm.
but then the next one comes and makes you laugh. Then it's a different story altogether.
Sure.
Or you can have a really bad day where all your people are complaining. All the people you meet, you interact with are complaining. Then you can have a really nice day where you are laughing all the day, you are having fun, and you're making good sales.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
the job is never boring. It's never boring. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've kind of gone through what it means to work in hospitality and a little bit about your journey through it. I just have a few more questions for you. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay, a pilot.
Yes,
And how
yes.
long did that last?
It only lasted for like 7 years throughout my junior school.
Okay.
After, yes, after I went into the high school, then that dream vanished.
I thought being a pilot would be super cool, but I have really bad vision. So there's no way I could be a pilot ever. They wouldn't trust me with it.
Yeah, it happens.
And so what's been the best piece of business advice you've received?
The best piece of business advice, can't think of any. Business advice isn't at work or like
It
personal
doesn't matter.
business.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anywhere.
Okay, the best piece was start with what you have and start where you are at.
Okay.
You don't have to wait for the storm to pass, or you don't have to wait for this bad period to pass. Start right now. If you want to be something in 5 years, you need to start working on it right now with what
Sure.
you have and where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I would agree with
Yes.
that. And so what would be one thing you would say to somebody who's currently feeling discouraged in their job?
The best way is the best thing I can tell them is to stay on their job because it's better to find a job when you are at a job
Okay.
than when you are not employed.
Sure.
Yes, because that blank period on your CV, it's going to give your potential employer some questions why
Sure.
you were not employed for that period of time. Unless you have a good reason, like maybe I was studying full time. But otherwise, it's better to hang on to something whilst you're looking for something better.
Okay, but definitely
Yeah.
look for something better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Frederick, for coming on my show with me.
Thank you, Samantha, for having me. I look forward to hearing this podcast somewhere on the internet.
If you like this episode or you're looking to change your career, go to 28andsearching.com or become a patron to get exclusive content sent directly to you. See you next week.